always nice to have a fart just ready to go at the right time.
That was in me since the Lighthouse episode.
It's always good to have a fart on deck, except when you're in an enclosed space.
These things already get the click?
I already got the clock. What? Nice.
There it is.
Started the audio later, so. Today begins with a nightmare. I'll give it a little tug.
So what do you think? Nathan's grown in the past 3 weeks, huh?
Yes. Still not the sun.
Yes, yeah. He did have 20 years of time travel to go through.
Must have blew out his capillaries.
Happy to be in 2005. We'd never been here before. I didn't know you were such a paranormal fan. That was cool. I dig Michael Keaton. And, it was very interesting, just how one would deal with death and encounters with death. And not only that, but being able to encounter the death of his wife.
Yeah, can manifest in many ways. Comment?
Oh, I forgot to...
Oh,
Get it up. On deck, on deck. There it is. Okay, good
640p.
Good to confirm I'm here for the right film, because I didn't know there was any paranormal undertones in this film.
Yeah, I gotta love Michael Keaton.
Always a blast.
I was looking up Desperate Measures the other day because I wanted to see some Michael Keaton as a villain.
What'd you think of him in this one? Loyal husband, widow.
Yeah, it's a lot different than Jack Frost.
What's going on? It was I think after watching this movie, the wife and Jack Frost kind of didn't really do her part.
What do you mean?
Well, like all the work Michael Keaton had to do to talk to his wife. They had sound of death.
They're practically the same thing. It's the same forces at work.
Well, one's magic, one's paranormal activity.
Both are the devil.
True that. What's that? Is there something wrong?
Nothing. No, just happy to be here with the Sleepy Geniuses.
Like that.
Seeing how you guys run it. Trying to figure out which film we're discussing
He's
here.
a supervisor? Is that why he's dressed this way?
Is there
He's here to conduct business?
Are we not in 2020? Are we not in 2005, guys?
Yeah. What's the new Bruno Mars song? Someone tell me.
Yeah.
Quick!
I didn't even know Bruno Mars was around yet.
Yeah.
No, I think Lil Wayne was just coming on the scene.
No. That can't be true.
Yeah, that's gross. Why would he say that?
He's been at it for 30 years now.
Never comes without hitting a scene.
So what do you think about the opening scene?
Of White Noise.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I love this film. I think it works on lots of levels. Of course, it draws from the book, which I'll just admit.
Hold up!
There was a book?
Yeah. Didn't you do your homework? I just wanted to admit that I haven't done my homework. So, as much as I like the film, I'm not sure what to attribute to the book and what to attribute to the director of this film. You did say those sunglasses were especially dark.
Who directed this thing?
Hard to tell. Jeffrey Sachs.
Oh, this is a Sachs production.
Yeah, well, we all started in Sackville at one point, didn't we not?
Originally, we're all from Sackville. He's correct.
Yeah, I can see where the lines could be traced back that way.
Yeah, little Pompoko.
So did they write Michael Keaton right into this book, or?
There's pictures of him actually.
Two rights make a wrong.
In the centerfold.
Well, I'm gonna ask you why you brought this to the table, and I'll explain a little bit about the book. And you were the last to the party, so you just told.
That sounds good to me. Like I said, I'm not quite sure exactly what the director of the film brought to it, but he definitely did something creative. You know, there was a review that said that this was an unfilmable story, but
Bingo.
then the director filmed the shit,
Wrong.
quote unquote.
Whoever said that was a dumbass.
Yeah. So did you just see it on Netflix? It popped up, and you're like, oh, I'll check that one out.
I think I went for the driver.
Pardon?
Yeah, Adam Driver.
Because of him.
Yeah, brought me to the yard.
You mean Michael Keaton, right?
Well,
Are you
some
talking
people-
about 2022 White Noise? Oh, shit.
Okay, so big Driver fan, right back to Girls or something?
Yeah, well, no, I didn't see him in Girls, but saw him in Silence, where he played alongside Andrew Garfield.
Oh.
That was a strong role for
The
him.
only guy who saw Scorsese's
Yeah.
newish movie.
I suggested it to Liam.
Yeah, not newest.
Yeah, not newest. Newish.
Yeah, there's newest.
Ish.
Yeah, but no, I just think that as deep as the message to this film is, which we'll continue to explore in this conversation, it's very obvious right from the outset. Like within the first 10 minutes of this film, they mention death
Yeah.
about 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And so you understand that death has this specific focus of the whole story. And then they're also, you know, really enjoying some of the simple pleasantries of life. You know, the couple is just in this kind of
Car
pathetically...
crashes.
Well, that's something that's yeah, it starts out...
That's on like page 200 of the book.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they introduced that later on?
Page
Well,
2 of the script, and
I'm-
that's with title page.
Oh, Mr. Siskind is in there, but that particular spot. Because tons of these things they say are like drawn directly from the book, not just like rewritten in some way.
Okay. Roll the film.
So I
Sorry.
didn't even get to enjoy it in that way. I'm sure people that read the book before would be like, you know, the fan service that gets done in so many films. That's
This
so often
film
nowadays.
or this book has been on my backlog for books since 2014. Remember when Inherent Vice came out?
No, I don't remember that one.
No? You?
The movie.
Yeah. Anyway, Paul Thomas Anderson. You familiar with him?
Show me a picture.
Boogie Nights.
Magnolia, The Master, There Will Be Blood.
Ooh. Like that
Which
one.
role did he play in There Will Be Blood?
No, he directed it.
Oh, directed. Okay, no.
He was on the WTF
Yeah, you probably wouldn't
podcast.
recognize a picture of him.
You know that?
Which one?
The WTF podcast?
No. We were on different wavelengths at this moment.
Well, anyway, he went to university. You know who David Foster Wallace is?
No, I'm failing this quiz.
I'm surprised. He was a writer.
Give him something he can use.
Anyway, this guy was his professor or whatever at one point, and they made him read this book. And so they brought it up, and it was on my backlog since then.
Wow.
And so when I went to check it out on Netflix, like I didn't even make the connection between the two because of the unfilmability of, like I never actually read it at that point, but it made me extremely curious. So it lit the fire under my ass to get that book into me before we did the cast.
Yeah, so I mean, the film is inherently derivative because it draws from the book, like you said. But then I think they do something really creative with it on the screen, and maybe it's that rearrangement of the scenes, like you mentioned. Because when it starts out with the commentary on car crashes,
Is it that or the furnace?
when it starts out with the description of car crashes as something that should be celebrated, I think that Don Cheadle, who's the most like effective narrator in this entire story, he jumps in every once in a while, describes the car crashes as a moment of secular optimism. You just know, you realize that there's something to catch up with in this film, and then they move away from that, and then it's this guy observing, campus life, and so you kind of know that there's some dots to be connected, and so it kind of keeps me engaged because I like films like that when there's just this kind of looming, kind of deeper message. Liam and I, we were raised. My mom always drew our attention to the use of symbolism in films, and this film's riddled with it, which is why I think it's an awesome film.
but at the same time, like very on the nose. You know, they don't shy away from what they're.
He said he
to...
liked Adam Driver. Watch your mouth.
Well, I was actually gonna say that. Yeah, I've never been a fan of Adam's before watching this. And,
General.
Because I haven't seen him in many movies, so I go off of Black Klansman, and it's not like he did a bad job.
Is he not nice in that?
But he was just underutilized. His character, like, he was so, like, the other side of the prejudice coming from the KKK that I feel like they could have used his character a lot more effectively. He kind of just fell flat throughout the whole movie, for me anyways. And then I never got to see Marriage Story.
Seems like it's just...
tearjerker.
It's a sulk.
Seems like it would be scene 72 of White Noise throughout the whole thing.
Phyllis? Oh.
62, sorry.
Huh? Sorry, did I miss something?
Yeah.
My phone's going on the fritz here.
It's like 38 in
Oh,
here.
should we check for room tone in this episode especially?
Are we hitting a higher pitch than usual?
I hear white noise.
Yeah, can we just get something out of the way here? Just wanted to say that we asked Wes what his favorite Vietnam movie was, and he said Forrest Gump.
I mean, it holds a very special place in the storyline because I actually think as many things that stem from his deformed spine and the fact that he's disabled in some ways. When he goes to Vietnam, I mean, all things spread from there. Bubba, Lieutenant Dan, shot in his ass.
It's like saying
Metal,
Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
which I stand by.
You know who doesn't? Bruce Willis.
Okay, well,
Lethal Weapon, also Christmas.
yeah. But I've changed my opinion about the best film about the Vietnam War to Deer Hunter. I'm definitely going with Diddy Mao.
Yeah.
Don't play games, pal.
78.
Alright, just had to get that out. Where were we? Don Cheadle.
And she, really interesting character in the
Hard to
mix.
tell if he's actually even in the film or if he's just being like a visual narrator. He's kind of just like pops in certain times and like really weird ways to enter scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like when they're in the grocery store and they're like, what's this butcher shop? Red meat and bread. That's what America was raised off of.
Yeah.
Just kind of, he's like facing the wall and turns around and but he does shake the wife's hand. So obviously he's a true being.
Baba.
Oh, this is annoying. This one's sick. You guys keep talking.
Yeah, Don Cheadle's character definitely seems like he's always a little bit high, but always in the right place with something smart to say at every time. And he gets the endorsement from the beginning that he is the voice of the narrator. And so you then hear his voice again when you see him on screen, and you're like, okay, this guy kind of has an oversight of the whole situation. And I think he does actually explain the plot of the film in the open, but then quickly slides off the cracker and kind of just becomes a eccentric academic.
Yeah.
And it was interesting, the presentation of academic personalities in the film.
No, I agree.
Not the narrator in the book.
No?
No, it's mostly like inner thoughts.
The readers, the reader's the narrator.
From Jack.
Okay. Jack, manly name. One of the most manly names. Babette. Probably the most female name.
Fun to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feminine names, I should
Baba.
say. Babe. Et.
Babette.
Especially the way he said it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the purpose of Bibit.
Yeah, Baba.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a whole wacky family, right?
Yeah.
So here's a question about the
Yeah.
family.
Cheaper by the dozen almost.
Because we'll weave through all this stuff. About the family. So the main characters clearly are the husband and wife, Babette and Jack. The kids,
7 kids.
I only saw the 3
No,
mainly.
there's more than that. You're forgetting about Wilder. I think Forgetting about Steffi.
Well, you do the math because they say when he's saying like these kids are from my second and fourth wife.
Many divorces.
And he goes that Wilder is both of our fourths.
Did you learn anything about his ex-wives in the movie?
No.
It was just that he had a few.
Yeah. They were always secretive, like because they were literally CIA and stuff like that.
Lots of secrets in this.
Yeah, and he loves Babette because there's no secrets between them.
That's what he thinks.
Right. But I guess that's the conflict of the whole story, that she's keeping something from him.
Yeah, secret pills, not so secret pills.
Dialar.
I think if you're trying to hide them, you wouldn't just throw them in the trash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is so much more.
Trust me, I know it.
abridged.
Kids love going through the trash.
You don't hide your pill bottles in there?
Oh.
Yeah, that whole arc is a slow burn in the book.
Hide them in the medicine cabinet like a normal person.
Yeah.
You can't reach.
Right in plain sight.
Yeah. But he goes through a great journey learning about them.
Yeah. Sure does.
They all do.
What do you think
They
of
all
like...
do. So the whole family?
Well, they all have to contribute. The young lady, Denise.
She plays a big part.
Yeah. She also, in the book, finds the pills.
She's the one who
But
finds
she's
it.
like hoarding them. She won't tell, anybody where it is. And you can see that. But, like, she's doing that the whole book, pretty much. He just gets, like, basically a sample. And it's crazy, actually, how they abridge everything. Because they hit so many things that are in it. But this has more of, like, a meandering plot. Especially through that whole... Because it's broken into thirds, right? 3 acts.
Even more so than your regular film, or?
Well, they really figured out how to make this a film for sure. Yeah, so anyway, we're talking about Denise. Is that what it is? She's picking up the pill bottle, taking a look through it. It's movie-ish, right?
Yeah, nosy.
Isn't it beautiful, that golden hue when she's looking at it?
Amber.
The reflection, yeah, amber. Duh.
Small white pill in an amber
Give me
colored
malaria.
bottle.
You
You would
fucking
call a
mosquito.
doctor at his home and describe a pill as small and white?
Oh,
What are you going to tell me next? It's round? he should have said there's a specific little hole in it done by laser.
yeah.
That would have narrowed it down.
Yeah,
mentioned that.
so sarcastic.
Yeah, the
That's
daughter
funny.
did seem kind of pivotal in that she discovered the pills and then kind of drove his response to it, drove Jack's response to it. And I wonder if she had more of a story in the book, and also the same thing about his son, because his son was a really interesting character, but I felt that both the kids were kind of more so just props, plot devices. They weren't actually characters of motivations.
Yeah.
In the movie, they were just these kind of sideshows that the Jack and not so much the mother, she wasn't really engaging as much as Jack because he's the true protagonist of the story. They just kind of, they were things that were happening around the parents as they went through their story.
Yeah.
So much smarter than the parents.
I was like...
Which I think was
Heinrich.
kind of a cue to how they were feeling a bit inferior at this point in their life. Like he marveled at his son and how he was leading the conversation at the quarantine facility. And I think maybe that was how they're both proud but self-conscious about where they're at in their life.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, Heinrich was probably, kind of the weird kid because he was thinking about all this stuff. And then all of a sudden he becomes the cool guy because he's now the one with all the knowledge.
Oh my god. Mm-hmm.
Very meticulous, real Boy Scout.
Yeah.
What do you think of...
Takes forever to get to the cloud.
Jack?
But we should just talk a little bit about why this is probably on because when I was reading it, it's unfilmable, right? So little backstory about Jack is Hitler professor for it's this is the main character, this guy who for 21 years or something in here has been teaching classes.
And he's renowned, right?
Hitler, yeah.
He's esteemed because of his expertise in Hitler.
Yeah,
But he
and
can't...
Murray
Yeah.
trying to do the same
Elvis.
thing with Elvis.
Yeah, didn't know there was so much in common between the two. I think Elvis should have been a world leader. Would have done some good.
Oh, he's mama's boy, I hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of all this research and knowledge about the Germans, and they role play as Canadians when they're in bed? What do you think of that?
Missed that part.
I want to please you. No, baby, it's you. You did it last time. I'm pleasing you tonight. No.
And
Please me. I'll please you.
yeah, such weird
No,
verbiage.
no. I don't want any pleasure in this activity. Let's read a book.
Yeah.
Nothing about entering me. I don't
Yeah,
want
yeah.
entering.
Isn't that so weird that nothing entering, like the verbiage of all that comes right from it?
Yeah, and then that comes back later on when they talk about the indiscretion, and he
They won't stop saying it.
Yeah, it's true.
But she does like inside. It's okay to be inside. I just don't want to be entered.
Yeah. Yeah, she's going through some stuff. She's got like forgetfulness. You got to tell me when to go places, or else I'm not gonna know.
And I don't know if pornography was around at this time, but there's a lot of imagination involved in these characters, and that's the thing about reading a book, is that you're creating
Theater of the mind,
where that's where some people read books and then they watch the movie and they're like, this isn't as good at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they managed to create a strong visual with this one.
Yeah.
With the products, a lot of placement on consumer, a lot of focus on product placement or ironic product placement, consumerism, commodification.
Yeah, the comedy comes from a total different direction though. Like it's not like really a funny family in this, because it's all like his thoughts on it, and some of them are like disturbing because he's exploring all these different avenues and looking at them from a logical way, and
they're more funny because they're so pathetic. It's satirical. And that's exactly the genre I'd put in. What genre would you guys put this film in?
It feels quite satirical. Feels
comedy.
Relevant.
Dark comedy.
Because it's weird, like the pandemic-y sort of things, because this was in 85 this came out. So some of the things that it touches on is so familiar to
And it was shot in 2021.
Probably something.
It came out in 22.
But it does make fun of that whole kind of public guidance during an emergency kind of thing. They're calling it one thing, they're playing down the threat, and they're playing it up, and then a few days later they told us we can go home.
COVID.
Oh yeah, is that a reference? You guys do a COVID reference bucket?
That's just starting it. That's first one.
First one.
You're here for the first one. You got 2 points.
Yeah, but I don't know how much this is played up in the book, but they definitely make fun of like the terminology that's used to describe a threat, the kind of the mass panic, and then the kind of inadequacy or the different reactions to the emergency, lack of uncertainty, and then the total inadequacy of government responses. I think they kind of play at that.
Steffi, one of the daughters, she really. Like, she's wearing masks in the car and things like that. She's, like, extra vigilant, especially when it gets to, this is going to come up. But
it was kind of like Knock at the Cabin. Knock at the Cabin, after I watched that, was like, this movie must have been done post-COVID, but the movie, or the book came out in, 2015 or 18 or something like that.
Yeah. Shout out to the guy who liked our thing.
Yeah. We actually got a like on Instagram from the author of Knock at the Cabin.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Paul Tremblay.
Yeah.
Y'all getting discovered.
Did nothing for us.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah. But about the dark comedy, we were mentioning how it's interesting his expertise was in Hitler. He was this renowned expert scholar on Hitler. And that is purposeful. Like, why the focus of this guy's life plays into this whole story. So I kind of ask, why Hitler? And I think it's because he has occupied his life focused on one of what can be described as, it's kind of commonly agreed upon as one of the worst things that's ever happened in history. And this is just something that's in his life that he then tries to just claim that he's happy. He tries to claim his developing relationship with death from the very beginning. He talks about what if death is just documents exchanging hands, and there's this opening line where he has a very simplistic kind of take on, let's enjoy these aimless days as we can. He's not talking to anybody. He just says that at the beginning of the film. Mm-hmm. So a very simple kind of guy, and he's proud that he's an expert in Hitler, but he doesn't speak German. And I think that is a kind of a indication, or kind of a symbolic way of showing that he feels very incomplete and self-conscious.
Yeah, he doesn't even like German. Mm-hmm. Like, he thinks like the sharpness and stuff is unappealing.
Yeah.
Yeah, a secret meeting.
And like the words hit at the back of his mouth weird, and
he's
like,
terrible at it.
It's very like heavily gone into you.
Yeah. But what's with the dark sunglasses?
I don't know if that was in the book.
He says in the he does say in the movie that it's like the only reason he gets away with not saying any German is because of the dark sunglasses. I was like, is that a German? They wear darker sunglasses. There's like this.
Yeah,
I can't see shit.
That's why.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, and it's just funny how he has such a dark focus as the kind of base of his whole lifestyle. Like, that's what he focuses on as a scholar. That's where he makes his living. That's what his friends look up to him for. That's what his status is based on. But there's this one crucial part that he finds very embarrassing. And so still at that level of status and recognition, he still has this kind of gap in his life. Mm. And he fills that gap. By the end of it, he's talking very fluidly with the atheist nuns at the very end. Yeah. So I think, and that's also part of how he develops his relationship with death. He, as we should talk about, this is central to the whole story. Like, he is afraid of his death, and so no longer talks about it in this impartial way of just documents exchanging hands, but explains to Don Cheadle, what if death is just a sound that constantly surrounds you forever? Yeah.
And in the 2005 White Noise, it is.
And also, he wouldn't be allowed to take his own class.
Uniform white. So like a blanket.
Uniform white. That's said, hold the Hitlers.
That's what they said. What about when they started talking about who's going to die first?
Yeah, that's within the first 10 minutes.
Lobster reference.
Focus on death.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Preoccupation. And you don't find out later till that this Dylar, like you find out early in the movie, what it's meant to be for, don't you?
Yeah.
But you find out way later as it unravels in this.
Yeah, well, you find out pretty late in the movie.
Mm-hmm. That she's even taking pills. Like,
it's kind of like you're following that thread for a long time. Mm-hmm. Like, he's hooking up with...
I thought it was lifesavers for like the first 2 acts.
That's what she said it was?
Yeah, that's what she says it is, yeah. She's pulling all kinds of shit. And it's so plain sight when she throws it out in the movie.
You swallowed the lifesaver without one interval of suction?
Wouldn't you guys agree that this film had a lot of like Wes Anderson type backdrops?
And minus dialogue? The symmetry.
Yeah, minus the symmetry.
But the oversaturation, which I thought was right after this when they were talking. Like, everything's so oversaturated, but then it just cuts to that harsh black and white World War II footage and goes to Hitler. And another thing about Hitler is, like, the way that he could had such control over the masses. And I think that's where the comparison to Elvis, because like Elvis fans were, Beatlemania was one thing, but Elvis fans were like, I'm sure if Elvis said that you guys have to help me take over this country, they would have.
Yeah, similar following.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he did that in Navy Blues.
Is that around Christmas? He did Blue Christmas, didn't he? Must be on the soundtrack.
Blue Hawaii?
Lots of blues songs.
Is that a movie too?
I don't know.
How many blue movies did this guy do?
I literally lost all confidence in my answer when you said whatever after I said Navy Blues. Is that not GI Blues? What the fuck is this shit? Didn't he do a war movie?
I'm sure he did.
Oh, for sure.
It's hard to crack wise these days. You know what I'm saying, Lord Pete?
But yeah, how sinister does he look when he's doing that first class, and he's walking through like this, and he's doing the. He just looks like such a villain.
Hmm.
Like I didn't.
You watch too much Harry Potter.
I didn't know where I've watched no Harry Potter.
Yeah.
You admittedly watched way more
Focusing on
than I have.
minute Hogwarts.
Well, I don't know where this movie's going. I thought he was going to become a. That's a good reference. He does seem Snapey, doesn't he? A little Snapey there.
Yeah. JK.
Rest in peace.
Right.
Another Die Hard reference.
Okay, rolling along.
And then in the contrast with the wife, she's just doing like the most wholesome stuff, teaching yoga, doing some running up and down the bleachers, which she does every day.
Yep. Eating or buying food that she doesn't eat.
Yeah, the whole family eating hop sings. They're just living the full American dream.
Yeah, nice simple life.
What more could you ask for?
It's too bad that toxic event took place.
Yeah,
Broke everything up.
Airborne.
Yeah. I just loved so much all of the banter, and it was in the movie a bit too, but like, oh no, it's not gonna blow this way, and the way it raises questions, it'll be like, well, why won't it blow this way? And just be like, no, like it comes down from the north this time of year, it never blows this way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what if it does? It's not gonna.
Yeah,
Well, and that's a big thing, like with COVID, for example. It's like everyone just becomes a scientist at this point. They hear one thing, they're like, oh yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
And then like every time any conversation happens, they're like, yep, this is what I heard from this guy who heard it from someone.
Yeah, because when you have that level of uncertainty, you kind of grasp onto things to attain a little bit more comfort and sense of normalcy. So you'll try to base kind of assumptions or a way of understanding the situation on whatever you can find.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
To
it
just
gets
different
subverted.
degrees.
Like the I'm pretty sure he like talks to the person from the university to have it analyzed, and it might even do this, but she's like he's like, I know, like, you're the best or whatever, and she says, we're all the best. That's like what we call each other.
Yeah, the representation of academics was really funny because there's just a bunch of busy-minded kind of eccentrics.
Andre 3000 was one of them.
Andre, quick little moment over there. Yeah, I was looking up the cast and I didn't remember seeing him in it, so it took the second time.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So he has
big boy.
So he has the secret meeting. He's got some secrets as well. He doesn't want anyone to know that he's going out of his way to learn German, because he's.
And the other guy sucks at German too, that he's learning from.
In Hitler, advanced Nazism. And this guy also teaches sailing.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone's interested.
Yeah, this is not his focus.
So they're going through the grocery store, and I'm listening to I'm trying to figure this movie out. So every little detail I'm overthinking, and they're saying Sunny Delight.
Yeah.
And they also say Fruit Loops or Cheerios. Oh, sorry, Fruit Loops. So I looked up when both of those products were invented, and they were both in 1963 and 1964. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to judge, maybe that's when this movie takes place, around late 60s. Is it the 70s? Seems like a 70s haircut Babette has, but
big hair. Yeah.
I think they take place in different years, but I think it's like 60. No, I don't know.
Probably present day in the book, maybe? Or?
Yeah. No. Well, no, it takes place. Yeah, it's like present day 85 or something probably.
Because Elvis in 61 to 68 only released 2 songs.
Yeah. Wasn't famous yet.
But you're right.
No, he was really famous, and then went on a hiatus.
Yeah, not to lick your guys' moles, but I think you're both right with, like, the superstore stuff that you're talking about. Like, you can get anything at the store. Things that cure you, this is when everything is now in a store that you can need to live your simple, happy life.
Yeah. As Don Cheadle puts out there in the open. Like he just pops in every once in a while and he kind of just draws your attention. You said this film is really on the nose in some ways.
It is, yeah.
And I think there's something to that. And he just says it right there and then eccentrically, slides off the cracker.
Yeah.
And, does something foolish to then kind of play him off to the sideline so you don't mistake him for the main character or anything like that.
Yeah. Commercialism, what's good, what's bad for you, like that all really heavily ties into it.
Yeah.
But Cloud's bad. Cloud's always bad.
Ominous Cloud.
And then, wasn't much of a cloud, but what'd they call it? A
airborne toxic event.
No, there's
Oh, you
else.
mean as it progresses?
Yeah, we'll get there.
Plume?
Progression?
A plume. It's a plume. That's how it started.
That's how it started. It's not a
black
plume.
billowing cloud.
Yeah.
And then, because the daughter, Denise, was it?
Isn't it?
He really likes to, she's kind of tough on her mom, but she just, wants the best for her. But you can tell that she's, a little sheepish. She just, everything she's told, she's projecting to her mom. So she's like, I thought you wanted me to eat sugarless gum. Yeah, but that's before they put that warning label on it. So now you can't eat that and you got to do this. So it's like whatever she's being fed.
She's a little Lisa Simpson know-it-all.
Yeah. And she even calls them rodents.
Yeah. The kids are good at keeping them up to date on the latest things.
Yeah. She's like, why don't you just... And it's all because she doesn't want her mom to smoke. But I think at this time, there wasn't even warning labels on cigarettes, but there was on gum.
Mm.
My, how the worlds have changed.
Yeah. Aspartame's depression.
Yeah, she wants to stay in the Matrix.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Now,
There's some Matrix references in this.
yeah, and it's
If
written
you-
all
if
over
you-
your face.
Yeah, if you're looking for that. I mean, after seeing The Matrix,
No,
I saw
there-
Matrix
there-
references and everything.
There's one undeniable Matrix reference in this.
Okay.
But we'll get to it.
One in every great film, right?
Yeah.
She got secret Alzheimer's.
Yeah. It's a...
Did you
Side
notice
That's
that
a side
part?
effect of the pill, right?
But did you know what was the first clue of her Alzheimer's to you guys? Do you remember?
It's not Alzheimer's.
Well,
What is
her
it?
daughter says to her, "You forget things," and she's like, "What did I forget?" But
No,
I think that
no,
you
no.
already know before then.
It was the
they're
game.
they're in the aisle with Don Cheadle, Murray, and she's like leading the conversation, and she's like, "Yeah, these are the kids. Their names are," and she just stops and kind of walks off, and then that's when he's like leaned over and he's like, "This one's Heinrich. He's from Wife 2."
Yeah. She's aloof.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is kind of a classic kind of patriarch to begin with. He's just like classic head of the household, family man kind of thing, but has many families. And in his kind of academic kind of flair or persona, this intellectual persona that is like, he's drenched in. It's a really interesting character. Some people think it wasn't cast very well. I think Adam Driver, like I said, that's part of the reason why I watched the film. But not everyone thinks he filled out the role the best. But he is this kind of traditional, strong father figure that denies that there's a threat at the beginning, which is exactly that. It's a form of denial where he is kind of taking more of a simplistic view on life to kind of not admit what's actually happening. And then after he comes in contact with the storm, he has to deal with his fear of death.
He did kind of go from scraggly teen to Gucci to this somehow.
Yeah. See, I didn't even get to see Gucci yet, but I thought
it's all Gucci.
my bar was pretty low for Adam Driver movies just from lack of. But I thought he did great in this, and I thought the flip of visually looks like he probably came from Jewish descent is studying an advanced teaching advanced Nazism.
Not for nothing, but that's what Murray was in the book.
Man.
Jewish?
Yeah, he wasn't Don Cheadle or Cheadle.
I'll put it that way.
Which one was he?
Maybe he converted. How do you know he didn't convert?
Yeah, I don't remember any of them talking about religion explicitly in the film, but maybe I missed it.
No.
No,
He's
they
not
didn't.
in them.
Except at the end.
The one time I felt there was an overtone of Jewish culture was when he was on the phone with the doctor. That's just how I attributed that.
That's how Hollywood works.
That draw.
Adam Driver come from Jewish descent. He did in Black Klansman.
Might have. Can always speculate. I think Adam Brody might be his dad. That's...
Yeah. Speaking of on the nose, goddamn, hard to be off it.
Fucking Adams, right?
Yeah. Fuck him.
I mean...
Oh yeah. So then they have that. The kids rather watch a plane crash than a sitcom.
Yeah.
That's more entertaining.
Yeah, and they were fascinated with serial killers as well at one point.
Yeah.
Heinrich, pen pal with a serial killer.
Missed that part.
What?
Was that in the movie?
Yeah,
Pen pal?
he's maybe it doesn't get as in depth, but yeah, this guy's been writing to for a while, playing chess back and forth by mail.
Yeah, I remember some sort of pen pal thing he was telling his dad about. Yeah.
But really spooky scene.
Okay.
Chinese,
the ominous clap.
No,
The purple clap.
Way spookier. The spookiest scene in the whole movie is when he wakes up and Babette's not beside him. And Mr. Gray.
Yeah. Mink.
It goes. He's sitting there and he goes and uses the bathroom like this, and then he gets into bed beside him.
Yeah, and you can tell it's not her.
Starts doing that. Yeah, you can see because
the hair.
First it's like, oh my gosh, she cut her hair. She went crazy.
Yeah.
But then you see the scar. But then at the end of the movie, I was like, was this even a dream, or was this guy actually in the house?
Like, there's so many characters that, like, I did not get the vibe of that guy at all like that in this.
Yeah.
Because you find out through the progression that she's getting the pills through this guy, and she's meeting him and getting the bone. But I imagined it like a businessman or like a legit guy from a business or something that she just ended up in this thing with, but not a dirt squirrel like that, right?
Some sort of burned out scientist.
Yeah.
Even watching the movie, when you see that guy keep coming in and out, I did not think that was going to be Mr. Gray. I did not put that together.
No.
But yeah, how almost like Freddy Krueger was that face in the sheets, and then there are some amazing transitions in this film, and how they cut to the face in the sheets, but then he takes it off and it's actually him. Like he woke up with the sheets over his face, and that's why he was dreaming like that. And how would he dream about this guy?
It's actually totally possible
itching his wife's scratch
that he took one of those pills and forgot that he was there. I mean, there's definitely some different intoxicants in the mix that could have made that an actual...
He didn't take a pill.
He wouldn't remember that he did. So it is possible in a different reading. Of course, we have the truth right here. Everything is told in this. But it is possible that they were in the bedroom together.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it doesn't say he has a pill. Like he has a pill, like that he gets from Denise or whatever, or he has a couple. But I don't think he takes it because it's not until later on
he goes
when he's feeling desperate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they do. The number does change, where it's like there was 4 pills in it, and then he's like, "There's 3 left. Where are they?"
Yeah.
So maybe one was taken, but I think this would have been after.
But he had to get one examined, and they're dropping through his research too.
It's a cool theory though that maybe he's been on the dialer the whole time, or at least once.
It's a retelling. But because we're talking about when he goes to get dialer, something I noticed in that very scene when he walks out in the night to go find that guy. Like we agreed, the cloud in the story is the absolute symbol of bad news, and the cloud is shown. How the cloud is above him when he's at the gas station is that there is this wispy cloud that passes over the moon, and that same thing happens as he departs to go find the dialer, and I think that that is a symbol of him kind of passing some sort of threshold in terms of his proximity to danger. That will then teach him more about his own humanity.
But did you not notice that when he's at the gas station and you see that the first glow in this, it's actually the shell sign from the gas station. It's not, because what did you think it was? The moon?
There is a moon, or is it just a sign? I thought it was the moon.
At the very end of that shot, you see it's that it's actually a shell sign.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just shows how you can be easy.
Because I was like, what is that kind of thing?
Confused by brand.
It's a shell.
But
Product placement.
I would really like to check that scene out again, because I do wonder if they led you to believe it was the moon, or if I just saw it wrong.
I suspect it
and then
did,
they switch it for a corporate symbol.
Yeah.
I mean, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And it was super strong in the movie, the way they did that so visually. But like, and here, like, you could feel it happening to him as well. Like, he was fucking himself over. But yeah, we should just bridge into how they got there, because they're out there, whatever. They get booted out of their house and gotta go.
They're late.
Flying on the run here.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's where it switches to the second act. Mm-hmm. The airborne toxic event, when they're actually in their Last of Us survival mode.
Looking at the families in the other cars. Oh, those people were laughing. Oh, those people were freaking out. Which is just a little kind of microcosm of broader society and the different reactions to this event.
Oh, yeah.
And them trying to go their own way with it.
But the whole thing with their car floating down the river and stuff, not in the book.
Not in the book.
Not in the book, no.
Oh, okay, so that's interesting. I was going to ask what the movie actually added. So that's really interesting, because that, to me, maybe I'm just like calling everything a symbol when it's not really. But isn't that, and he continues to try to steer as he goes, but he's just like bumping off the rocks. He's trying to control where he's going.
National Lampoons.
Some things you can't
It's
control.
hilarious like that, and they're funny because they're pathetic.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. And so he's trying to control life, but really he's just, helplessly going with the flow.
We're missing some great stuff, though.
Oh.
Like, what about Naked to the Waist?
From the top. From which end?
From which end?
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Yeah, that is a great
That
one.
was Andre 3K's moment to shine. There was the tunnel shot was pretty amazing. Them driving through the tunnels when they first got on the road. And it was all you could see is this small bit of light as they were passing through, and it looked like something dropping from the sky. Like, it was just so, like, I had no idea what I was looking at for a couple of seconds. And they're going through.
Great reveal.
This is where they do the Elvis versus Hitler, and how amazing was that scene? The way that they're going back and forth.
Mm-hmm. Not even back and forth. They're talking at the same time.
No,
and I love conversations that involve overlapping dialogue. Like they do it in HBO a lot. It's specifically not done in lots of sitcoms. Everyone takes turns talking, and that's why subconsciously you're just like, this isn't a real conversation.
Yeah.
And that one, they were doing this kind of unstructured academic jousting, talking over each other, and I just thought it was really cool.
Yeah, it was so cool. And that's where I was like, okay, I'm not going to say, okay, I'm an Adam Driver fan now, but like he won me over with that scene. Mm-hmm. It was just so powerful because he just took over.
Yeah.
Like Don Cheadle ran out of Mama Facts with Elvis, and then he just took over.
And that was one of those things, like not the overlap, but the back and forth between the moms. Yeah. Like it's a little more in depth, but it is like back and forth. They keep saying like the comparisons.
Yeah, and good and evil. At this point, Elvis was the global sweetheart.
Yeah, it's great.
And then so this is 1961 to 1968. Presley had only 2 records: "Crying in the Chapel" and "Return to Sender," among the top 25 sellers of any year. Hitler, from 1961 to 1968, lived in Argentina as Francisco Lopez.
I was wrong.
Naturally. Yeah. When did Elvis die? What year?
80.
80.
No.
Interesting Olympic
Is
fact.
it right? No, 70.
You guys like the Olympics?
78. No.
They were talking about the torch lighting parades that Germany, like he was talking about all the stuff that's in the German culture. Yeah. Torch lighting parades. Do you know anything about when Hitler had the Olympics in Germany? With Jesse Owens and everything?
No.
Is the first time they ever did that lighting of the torch. So like Yeah, then the World War II happened and all that chaos and down with the Nazis.
Look at the years he's saying over there. I'm getting chronologically a little bit.
Well, whenever Olympics were in Germany, which I guess was before
Was
1935.
before World War II.
Yeah.
1938.
When he was just coming on up, eh?
Yeah, exactly. It was right when he became the leader. And
Huffing
they
that
did
mustard.
the torch lighting. And then, completely take down everything that has to do with the Nazis. Except for that torch lighting thing was pretty cool, was it not? We're going to use that. We're going to keep that in the Olympics. And there it was written.
Mm-hmm. That's where it started, eh?
Because it was part of Germanian culture.
Sounds like revisionist history to me.
Look it up. Hitler's Olympics on Netflix. Right beside White Noise.
I thought he was always trying to make an homage to the original Greek Olympics, and maybe they had some sort of relay where they passed the flame of Prometheus or something like that.
No.
No?
That's Hitler, baby.
All right, Hitler did it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
First time I was ever done.
Yeah. Prometheus didn't get it. Just give it over. It wasn't stolen.
It was actually
Theft.
a great documentary because the Americans were saying, to Jesse Owens, we're not going to Germany. Look how they're treating us. Look how they're treating us as people. We can't go over to Germany and do the Olympics with them. It's like, look how you're treating us. Yeah. Like, I'm going over there.
Right.
Rushing the conclusions.
I probably got better chances over there. Russian to
Yeah.
You putting on.
So I think that since Elvis died in 1980, you would probably only have a scholar so enamored with you after you die. And so Don Cheadle, I think, is specializing in Elvis and probably present day, 1980s, early 1980s, something like that.
Yeah. It's a good point. I'm not really sure.
77 he died.
Like
77? So after that
77.
time, sometime after that, yeah.
Yeah. So is he alive during this? Is that what we're thinking? Because he's treating him like he's dead.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point.
A professor would only specialize in someone with that amount of fascination and material after they died. Oh, shit.
Don't get too comfortable.
Yeah. We're about to have Les West in some of these shots.
Maestro Les West.
Keep things in order.
That was your brother.
Lives in New Brunswick.
Yeah, I'm Wesley Willis, actually. It's me. Kick
Willis.
Batman's ass.
I gotta watch out for headbutts. Rock and roll McDonald's.
Boom.
That's how he used to greet everyone.
Rock and roll McDonald's?
No, you ever see the big mark he had in the middle of his head? Is that he give everyone headbutts, Wesley Willis? Alanis Morissette.
No.
Whoop Batman's ass.
I was more of a listener. I think he had a real face for radio, which is what I thought we were on just a minute ago. I forgot we were.
Face for radio. I said that in Spirited Away.
Excuse me. Wow.
But yeah, at this point in time, before they even get to the airborne toxic event.
Oh yeah, and there's.
Yeah, I was sold on this film from. That
Netflix.
It just very effective as that scene really did spook me out.
Mm-hmm.
And that monologue, I almost stood up and clapped with the class.
Yeah, after he stood up on the windowsill. Nice.
Yeah. And then this is where
Good morning, Vietnam.
the plume happens. Yeah. You get to see the
Turning
This is
into
very familiar. I know this.
You're turning off the audio.
Assembled to pay tribute to death.
Yeah.
peaked or feedback.
Which then everyone incidentally does in their effort to evacuate this small town in Ohio. And it's interesting that a train crash similar to that happened in the film actually happened in East Palestine, where this film was filmed nearby a year later. So I think it was 2023, just February this year, that a train containing flammable fluids and multiple different types of chemicals crashed in East Palestine. And someone who had been an extra in the film what was being shot in 21, explains how surreal it was that was happening in his town. Actual evacuation of the town as a result of the train.
Yeah. I'm wearing the same shirt. Imagine that. I was eating an apple in the movie. Apple. Boom.
Maybe it was
30
the apple.
years.
So they had the biggest trip. The movie meant the most to them.
Wild stuff. Whiskey bottle that buddy was trying to get on his passenger seat and dropped while he's smoking a cigar, and I'm pretty sure that's what he goes for. There's a bottle of whiskey beside him and rolls off the chair, and he's reaching down for it, and that's why he crashes.
It wouldn't have ever happened
Yeah.
if the lines didn't get painted over to widen the lane.
But boy, were they comfy.
He was enjoying them, exactly. Seinfeld reference. Nice. It's a good thing he didn't drop that sewing machine. It would have lit on fire all the sooner.
Yeah, you think those chemicals would have just took care of the lines.
Yeah. Newman.
I loved this line, but I'm trying to think of what it was that they were talking about. The kids are just saying all this. Oh, this is what I heard. That's what I heard. And he goes, "A family is a cradle of world's misinformations."
Yeah. I thought that was an interesting quote too, because I didn't know what to. I kind of thought, do I agree with that? When you said that, and you impart lessons as you grow up, as your children are growing up, and so is he talking about those lessons as being that kind of framework that could be viewed as misinformation, like a certain way of seeing the world? Because it's not like families necessarily gossip with each other, but maybe that's what he's talking about. Someone kind of picks up a piece of information and then they all confuse each other, and then they go off into the world with those partial assumptions or partial understandings.
Right.
True that.
Well, it's kind of like they're all it's just what they hear. They're just passing it on. So they're like, oh, I read this on social media, so this is how I feel about this matter. And they're all kind of just saying whatever they've read. They don't really know what they're talking about.
Yeah. And chaos.
Just
and
passing off it. Almost you can't believe everything that you hear.
damned if you do, damned if you don't sometimes. And, what is it going to be? No good.
And is it because I'm just wondering what's specific about a family? Because you would just think misinformation's out there happening because of all this partial news coverage or little bits and pieces of information people come across and share with each other. But a family maybe communicates more openly about whatever kind of misconceptions they have, not knowingly. And perhaps they're less likely to call each other out, although the father is quite, strict about, I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's true. Like that. So he names it, maybe. Because he says, actually, this is just a festering hotbed of misinformation here.
Right.
And they make a good point of this when he goes to see the Simuvac guy.
Right. This is a simulation. Is this a simulation?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh my god.
was that in the book?
Yeah, it almost line by line,
Okay,
this huge
It's
conversation with this guy. And he's like, do I worry or not? He's like, yeah, I don't know. This is what the computer says, and
Yeah.
It is the Matrix.
yeah. So you've never done this kind of thing before? He's like, no, we'll use this as the test.
Did you explain what you saw the Matrix reference to be?
No, we're not there yet.
Okay.
But yeah, it's fun. It says simulation on your shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is a real thing now, so we're just gonna pretend like it is a simulation, but it is real.
It was mind blowing. All of that stuff.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Brazil or something like that.
Yeah. You're gonna die within the next 30 years.
Yeah.
I gotta wait till I'm 70?
Then that's just to find out what it's gonna do, basically.
Yeah.
The way that there's always another little twist.
Yeah. And when he tells his wife, he's like, I am tentatively gonna die. I can't tell you if it's tomorrow or the next day. But...
Yeah, his whole demeanor starts to change a little bit after he gets that news. Because it's not, so much when you're gonna die. He's like, I'm going to. Yeah. And it really goes and breaks down. You'd almost think the author was dead reading the book. Just the way that, he's so insightful in such a breadth of information on life and death, and the different feelings you'd go through, and that the way certain like objectives or goals will leave you, and you'll have different type of perspectives.
Yeah.
So you think DeLillo had some kind of a nervous fascination with death?
Maybe he's still alive.
And after that scene, he goes outside, and a song that you guys probably wouldn't have heard before, but Bad Boys by Shine was playing.
By Shine?
Shine, which is interesting that this guy's making a big comeback. This guy in the 90s shot and killed someone in a club defending Puff Daddy, P. Diddy.
Oh, that
Went
Shine.
to jail, converted to Judaism, got deported back to Belize, and now he's going for Prime Minister of Belize.
Believes that.
Yeah.
He's fallen in, what's his name?
You got it.
W. He's trying to...
Bush?
No. Rapper. Wiz Khalifa. No, not Wiz Khalifa.
Okay. Leave it in the comments.
Is it?
Was Khalif?
But the
Isn't he? Didn't he run for mayor of
I'm not sure. We have to Google.
Pittsburgh?
Look that up.
Pittsburgh? Mayor of Pittsburgh? Did you hear a click?
No, it's the off-air flicker.
Okay. But yeah, the score was actually very, very interesting, because this is the Matrix reference that it goes, and it goes into like, now they're having like this kind of activist, almost like hippie-ish party going on, and the music is saying there's
Wyclef Jean. Sorry.
Jean.
Fuck me.
one of the Fugees.
Yeah, of course. He ran for mayor of wherever.
Yeah,
Haiti, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, it was Haiti. But
Sorry.
they were saying, the music was saying, there's nothing different between the blue and red. There's no difference between the blue and the red as she's taking a pill.
Mm-hmm.
That's Matrix.
That's real life. Doesn't matter which pill you take. You still get a B here.
Little reference, but
This is pre-Matrix. That's how you know. It's a placebo.
It's a little wink.
Yeah.
Offered up by post-production.
Pure morning.
No, it was in there. It was on the television. Or did they actually have a band playing
Between
in the party?
propaganda and the party.
Yeah.
So let's go a bit deeper in that. Do you think that they were actually trying to say that there was some sort of decision about either to take a certain type of pill to continue on a certain path, or to kind of go a different path, to become more reflective and aware of what life actually is about? Or are they trying to say in the way that there's only one pill to take, which is that just kind of helps you get by?
You know, it's all about how people are being able to work through these tough times of like close death interactions. It's like how, what's scarier, knowing when you're gonna die or not knowing when you're gonna die?
And that's probably why the diagnosis is what drives it home for having, even though it's that diagnosis, you are gonna die. When he's talking to the simulation dude, Simulac, he says you're gonna die within the next 30 years. Is that anything new? Did he really learn anything from that? But he was more so just confronted with the fact that he will die in 30 years, perhaps.
Was this Matrix preloaded?
Because now he is, now he's going and getting all these different tests. He's been like starting to actually like focus on his health, and the only way he started actually doing that was being told that he's gonna die anyways, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, and Murray also gives him a little bit of encouragement. Basically, like, if you are gonna die, you can do things like kill somebody, and you'll take in that life energy, and help prolong your own life. And make yourself more powerful.
Because the Tibetans believe there's a transitional state between death and the rebirth.
You got it right.
And violence is part of the rebirth. That was pretty deadly. That whole part of this dialogue there from Don Chi.
Yeah.
Was that right before he palmed the gun in his hand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little pea shooter.
That's different in the book. He doesn't give him the gun.
No?
He doesn't give him the gun?
No. His in-laws come to visit, and his dad-in-law gives him the gun.
Yeah. And this is where it starts becoming like kind of Griswoldy. You know, it's like Griswold's Toxic Vacation, National Lampoon. And it was funny, you already brought that up. But just like the hysteria when they go out and everyone's running around and they're getting in their car.
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole going to the river.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Griswold's?
Yeah.
Oh, right,
Christmas Vacation.
And that's a
Christmas
That's
movie.
National Lampoon, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, it definitely looked like, especially with the station wagon. And full stressed out family with the patriarchal dad, like I was saying, trying to be a strong leader, but really trying to steer down the river, but he's really just bouncing off whatever he comes in contact with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Should have been driving a Chevy.
Yeah.
That would have been another connection we would have mentioned right now and attributed a lot to it. And then we would have said, and then when he gets out of, they find themselves in the river because of a chase in that Chevy.
Yeah. It's the first place you guys saw Elaine.
Where was that?
Well, they find their lane through the
Christmas
woods.
Vacation.
The father leads them into the woods, and I think that that Land Rover knows how to survive or how to get out of this.
No, yeah, that's right.
And then together as a family, they're spotting where the Land Rover is as it goes around.
Yes.
So they're all helping each other out in this kind of situation that the hard-headed father has gotten them into. Yeah. But they're spotting the car, doing it, and then of course they get in shit because you're driving around really fast in the woods, so you're going to run into some trouble. But there's this kind of these symbolic moments where they're helping each other out. But then Adam Driver also refers to the family as the creator of all the world's misinformation. Mm. And you see a lot of that happening too, a lot of confusion within the family. I still think that the kids are really props or plot devices rather than characters. But sometimes the family's getting along, sometimes it's not.
What about the guy with the TV?
Spreading the gospel?
Yeah,
the truth. Isn't their suffering worth something? Yeah. Even though there has not been mass casualties?
Mm. And does that kind of fall into the same category as the car crashes and the plane crashes? Is that, the world's so desensitized that, no one's really fazed by this casualty, that it's only like affecting this one area, but, there's bad stuff happening all around us, so they're not really getting any help from any outside
We're
sources.
getting headaches now.
Yeah, nausea.
No, that was last week.
Yeah, exactly. She's experiencing outdated symptoms.
Yeah.
Because it was like, oh my God, Pepto-Bismol could cure all these people.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. And then there's the symptoms you can kind of get mixed up that are
Nothing
associated with the dilar, loss of memory and sensitivity to even having things explained to you.
Oh yeah, that was trippy. The speeding bullet.
Mm-hmm.
I get words and objects confused. Falling planes.
Yeah, when you can't. Does it explain what that is in it? Where, like, you can't disassociate what you're hearing with what...
Yeah, because she reveals that to him when she talks about her indiscretion and how long she's been taking the pill. Mm-hmm. And said that's a side effect, but I don't think one that she experienced yet because it was a possibility. Yeah. And then he confronts the guy in the motel and figures it out that he's sensitive to that, so he says all that stuff to him to harass him. And I kind of wonder if I'm again reading symbolism into this pill too much, but just come along with me here for a sec. One of the symptoms of taking the pill, and I think the pill itself, because it helps you get over your fear of death, is a way of getting by at any cost. That's a symbol of getting by at any cost. Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Right? And then the loss of memory,
American optimism.
a secular American optimism. Yeah. and even though it's a disaster from the outside, look, it's a disaster, but it's actually from the inside, someone who created that.
And he also doesn't care if it's a placebo.
Yeah.
That's the point that he gets to.
Yeah. It could be exactly that. Maybe that's just because we want it so much, we'll make it work, right? And that just goes to show the power of willpower. But it makes you lose certain memories, which then traps you to always live in the moment. And then also a sensitivity to these things that are said to you, such as how the news cycle, the fast-paced news cycle, will constantly incite kind of moral panics or kind of short-term attention to issues, get everyone shaken up, and it's scared on the edge, and then it's gone. It's on to the next thing, and you're constantly kind of distracting yourself from
or cover it completely, depending on how they want to spin it.
Yeah,
because this wasn't getting any coverage. That's what the guy with the TV was saying.
Yeah. And so, like, their story wasn't being put on the news.
Princess
but then there are
Dialar.
other things, more imaginary things that are taking everyone's attention, which then distracts you from having that realization that Adam Driver eventually gets into, which is like, we're all going to die, and we got to like be grateful we got this life here. I think he eventually gets around to that.
Because they have a paper, and front page news was baby that's been frozen for 600 years is alive and well.
Slow news day.
Yeah, I was checking out some of the news clippings, and it was always like, it was the big baby's been frozen for 600 years and is now alive and well, and then the small little one was woman dies getting hit with bowling ball.
No way.
Yeah.
Is that the newspaper he finds in the garbage?
Yeah.
No, it's before it, and they're reading it. No, actually, it's when he goes. It's the next time that he goes to the grocery store after he finds out that he's gonna die, and he starts like wigging out. He's there with Don Chi, and he's like going towards the cash, and it starts hitting him like he's going to these doors. All the symbolism in this, he's making his way to those doors. He's checking out. And he just starts freaking out, and it goes, and it's one of the cashiers are reading the newspaper.
Yeah,
and that's when he sees Mr. Gray.
Yeah, second or third time
come in. Yeah, I think that's the first time he actually sees him, other than the dream.
Yeah,
and right before that, they're talking about their colleague that died, and
he's a big.
They go, really.
Yeah.
A big man like that.
Yeah, no.
Enormous. Big man like that.
Enormous.
And then Don Cheadle says, I can see him so clearly in my mind, or one of the characters says, I can see him so clearly in my mind, I can't believe he's dead, which implies like someone who's big in stature and that you could see so clearly shouldn't have died. But like, no, that's the frailty of life. Mm-hmm. And then Don Cheadle in his way,
can visualize death.
And so is that what he says?
Yeah.
And then Don Cheadle, in his wisdom, he explains the plot. I think in that exact scene, he explains the core of the movie in that scene, and then says, "Well, anyway, it's better if you don't know them. It's better that it's easier when you don't know them, but even when you do know them, it's better it was them than us." Which is kind of a shallow take on the whole situation.
Yeah. But in the book, it does definitely take an all angles explorative approach to looking at it. Like every lens you can delve into.
The lens you can muster. We got quite a few lenses in this room right now.
That's what I was saying. I was looking around. I lost count of lenses. I didn't know how many to say here.
Just got to count in twos.
Yeah.
Oh, there's an odd man out somewhere.
Yeah.
Are you counting these lenses?
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. Didn't think about those ones. I'm supposed to pretend those aren't here.
Yeah, and then some lens you confuse as pain.
This is a podcast, baby. We got cameras everywhere.
Am I supposed to pretend the microphones aren't here or are here?
Whatever makes you more comfortable.
What do you think the glasses are that dark?
But what do you
feeling around?
So what do you think about that? How they're like, because they go back to that, how they're like an enormous man could die. Can you imagine that? What's enormous mean? It means he's strong, which strong must mean healthy. The ignorance of the classic American, where men in their jealous rage. They're insane jealous rage.
Yeah, that's why she won't tell him about Mr. Grey, is because she doesn't think him as a man can handle hearing that information and not reacting like a man.
Yeah, exactly.
He did go and shoot him after all.
But that's because he wants the pills, and that goes down differently as well.
Yeah.
We'll get. I'm sure
But he
there's
broke
other-
his rule. He did a lot more talking.
Huh?
He said, steal, don't buy. Shoot, don't talk. Was that in the book?
Where?
That's what he's saying in the car on his way to Mr. Gray's. He's saying, steal, don't buy.
No.
Shoot, don't talk.
He does have a little bit of a mantra going, but it's all the steps he's gonna do, where he's like, I'm gonna go by. I'm like not gonna turn my head and look into each, or I'm gonna turn my head and look in each doorway. I'm gonna go down here. When I see him, I'm gonna whatever, shoot him, put the gun in his own hand, and take the pills or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a heist.
Yeah, and
That's his intention, but then there's what he actually does.
Oh, and he's also gonna like take his soul pretty much and use it to, give him better odds at extending his own life. And Babette isn't gonna show up.
And also in the grocery store, they're talking about how, they lie to I lie to my doctor all the time.
Yeah, that was an
It's
interesting
like,
line.
well, why? It doesn't make sense to lie to your doctor because they're not going to be able to help you
Yeah.
if you're not being completely honest. How are they supposed to actually diagnose it?
Yeah, but people are like that all the time.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
You're like that,
Yeah.
I'm like that, probably. Wes.
Yeah, I've kept some things, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
100%.
it's just like a foolish tendency. You actually
Just happened.
Yeah.
you evade the reality of your health,
Yeah.
for better or for worse.
Mm.
And that's exactly what this. They have this hard time even thinking about the fact they could die.
Yeah.
So then when their big colleague dies, they're kind of confronted with that. And yeah, like Adam Driver eventually, or Jack, seems suddenly sick with consumerism. He's looking at all the cash registers, all the busyness in the aisles and on the conveyor belts and stuff, and he's just become sick with it, and then sees Mr. Grey. And you were mentioning earlier that the movie has a lot of really interesting transitions. I think right after that scene, they quickly transition to waves, which is an interesting kind of image after he's going through the sliding doors. These waves on a beach, and it's their colleagues surfing on those waves. And that's how he died, apparently.
Because that's what he's saying. You can. It's
Visualize
weird
somebody.
that you can visualize in death,
Mm-hmm.
and then he's visualizing it.
Because are they trying to say that you shouldn't be able to exist? Like when you die, you don't exist, not even in the mind.
And the first part of it is waves and radiation
Oh, okay.
before the airborne toxic event.
Lots of wavelengths in this white noise as well. 2005 version.
White noise is just waves, isn't it?
Yeah. And there's lots of sound in death in that one. He's actually talking to his dead wife.
Stop, you're making me horny.
This one, he's just talking to his wife that's scared to death. But I love the line that he's like, I found out that he died, came right to the grocery store.
For
This
comfort.
is like his place of comfort, yeah.
Yeah, that's what he talks about. Place of restoration. Best place in the world.
Why is there so many clumsy people in the grocery store?
I think it's because they're showing organic life.
Every time there's someone that's just spilling like a whole stand
Yeah.
or knocking stuff off the shelves.
Yeah.
That's part of the Wes Anderson look of the whole thing. I think there's just these very organized, intricate, not overly organized like Wes Anderson, but these intricate environments you look at, and then there's something random happening in one part of it makes it pop.
Yeah.
It does make it pop.
Even the guy over the like making the announcements
Oh, regard.
always fucks up. Like he did it at the very start. It was Cheerios. Oh, I regard it.
Yeah.
It was Fruit Loops, which I said, but I also have to regard because it was Lucky Charms. But then he does it every time they're in the grocery store. He's just saying nonsense the whole time in the background.
It's idiocracy.
Yeah.
Disregard that last statement. Oh wait. Regard.
Yeah. Did have Idiocracy vibes.
For sure. Yeah, it's part of the satire, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Kind of making fun of the mundane. And just showing how these kind of like everyday customs that people follow, as nonsensical as they might be.
This is the first time that you see Mr. Grey, because, and also when I felt like the Griswold vibes for sure, because everyone's running around and the youngest daughter drops her bunny.
Bun.
And then he goes back, and then Mr. Grey's the one who picks it up and gives it to him.
Yeah, I don't think that was in the book.
That's interesting, because a lot of the stuff you guys are
But it could have
related to the Griswold's family adventures don't seem like they were in the book. Then going in the river wasn't in the book, and then going through this little chaos to get the bunny, which I think was him once again just trying to like become the champion of some sort of minor little challenge.
I might not have remembered it, but I don't think it was.
So yeah, death is a sound.
Yeah.
And it's like in the same thing, he says death is a sound, and he says you can picture the dead. And this is like the imagination theme that I was talking about at the start. And then song and dance with the doctor. Oh yeah, that doctor that he goes and visits. And he's like, but we don't got time to talk about it, so I'm going to send you to this other guy.
Yeah.
And then all of us will work together. Of course, you'll come back and see me, and then I'll tell you what he had to say.
The bureaucracy of it all.
And I actually had that kind of scenario where it's like you don't know if you can actually trust a doctor, and when you don't feel like you can 100% trust a doctor, that's when you're going to find yourself lying to them, because you don't have that. Trust works two ways.
Oh.
And
repartee.
Like I just got a CAT scan. It was like, pancreas, doesn't have any damage to it, doesn't have any any growths or anything like that, so I'm in the clear. And then I go to talk to someone who actually went through like quite, you might hear about it on I'll put it that way.
Right.
And she was like, oh yeah, I went to Cobequid. They missed everything. If they saw it, I probably wouldn't have had to go through all the chemo and stuff like that. And it's like, I felt good for 3 days.
Yeah, all the machines, all they do is make bread. It's weird. Yeah. You can't smell bread. They don't make bread, but all they do is make bread.
Where are we at? Where are we at in the book?
I don't even know.
We're done?
No, the book is different than...
How so?
It's like, it's just less abridged.
Oh, we were talking about the doctor.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel the same way. Recently I've been getting like a bunch of... I've been going to getting like every test I can possible just to make sure, to set your mind at ease.
Oh, yeah.
But it, like we talked about earlier, could be a false sense of security because you don't even know if you're getting the right results or not.
Yeah, just get your genome mapped. It's like $50 now.
I'm not sure.
Check out your GACCs.
Oh yeah, I don't even know if I have any of those.
Your Todds?
I don't know.
Todd Gack?
Yeah, check out your GACs. Or whatever configurations you get.
Yeah, so after Babette confesses her indiscretion and confesses that she is, overwhelmed with anxiety about her own death, then it's actually like a moment of weakness for Jack, because he then, because it comes his primal rage that she knew he had to then go and, get in a confrontation with this guy, and doesn't even successfully kill him. He almost dies himself and gets shot. So they go through all that together. I think it's interesting Babette shows up. You said Babette doesn't show up in the book.
No.
So I'm kind of wondering, do they find themselves eventually at a church with atheist nuns that help them ground them with, life is life. You got to live life, and we don't know what's afterwards. Even though a nun is supposed to be the symbol of, a happy life at peace with death. Devout life.
Yeah.
She's like, fuck that. Let's just live life. She's working at a church in the city that provides a night hospital. I mean, the most grounded character you could ever think of.
It's very similar in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. He goes a bit further where he's trying to talk in German, some of the little bits that he learned. and then they realize that he sucks at it, and they just
really?
barrage him with German.
Oh, that's hilarious, because in the movie it makes it seem like they're all like, that's how you kind of count to 10 or whatever they were doing, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's German in the end of this movie. Like, even Mr. Gray is a German actor.
Yeah. But isn't there anything else before it gets to that point?
Yeah. Because we just talked about the doctor, and then it goes to, no one cares about airborne toxins anymore. It's electric fields now.
Yeah.
Like, there's always something to be scared of.
Course,
On to the next. And it's like, almost goes back to, like, the warning labels at the start at the grocery stores, and even, like, milk. Milk has so much calcium in it, and it's great for your bones. And then all of a sudden it's like, but the magnesium in it, they're ridiculous, and you shouldn't be drinking that. Look at the size of a cow and the size of a human. Like, you're not supposed to have that much magnesium in your body.
I don't know where he got all this information. Like, it felt so ahead of its time. Like, this came out when I was not even born.
Seems like all a canard.
Yeah. I like that line. Very, very Wes Anderson. Yeah.
Is that in the book?
What?
Or you watched the movie too?
Yeah, I did.
When she's like, I need some help with my homework or something like that. Jack? And then she goes, the homework was a canard. It's almost like red herring or something, I guess. That was awesome.
Yeah, so...
And then that's when he goes and she admits all her transgressions to him.
Yeah.
Lots of inside and entry talk here. And then they're talking about the men and their insane jealous rage.
Which he clearly seems to have, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's insane.
Yeah.
It's jealous.
I don't...
He wasn't even that rageful.
Yeah, I don't feel like
he's a very chill guy. He's just thinking his way through it. He's intellectual. But he was very upset.
Yeah. When reading it, it felt like he was... trying his hardest not to fall into that category, but that he was more desperate to figure out, like, to try out the pills than anything else.
Yeah, he even says, like you said, it might not even work, but I'm willing to see. Yeah. Just because, like, I just need some relief. I just need some ignorance.
Yeah. Exactly it.
Some comfort, some false security.
And her finding it in a newspaper, like how he tracks the dude down or whatever. Like, that's one of her excuses on how she discovered this. She saw, like, a case study or, something like that, and just decided to be part of it. But he finds him from just, like, driving around in the book, which, for whatever it is.
So these things are still good to go.
Yeah. And like the spiraling out of control. Like when he's ripping apart the garbage. Well, first it's a bag of garbage that he's, as he's raining down blows upon this bag, he thinks, there must be a better way. He's ripping them, and the camera's just sweeping around. I don't know if they were like, when the camera was off, they were tossing more garbage, because it just seemed like it was getting more and more and more.
All these colorful, disposed of, packages and stuff. And then he finds the piece of information he's looking for, and he's surrounded by the garbage, the waste of this consumerist world that is always their backdrop in this whole film.
Yeah, exactly.
Which actually, we'll come back to that with the final scene of the film. That's a funny moment that I think is probably totally different than the book. But after, although he's trying to seek out the pill so he can relieve himself of this anxiety about his own death, he then gets in a near brush with death that he then, in the movie anyway, goes through with his wife Babette, and they go to that hospital together, and they then kind of grow and admit through that struggle, through that travesty that they went through together, that they're okay with death, and they end up in the end, in the final film, when their kids are still running all around the house and shouting out this and that. They look at each other lovingly, and she says something like, we're all just fragile creatures, the fires are all around us. and Jack goes, "Huh, no milk." So kind of focusing on simple problems and just getting through them together.
The minutia once again.
Yeah, he does always seem to have like a very simple thought where because there's a couple times where she says something that's like really thought-provoking, and then he's just like, meh, yeah. Like you said, where's the milk? But it's like, he does that 3 or 4, or like 2 or 3 times throughout the movie. Is that another shot at men? Are we really getting the works here?
He's a little more of a dopey dick in the movie than he is than I imagine him in the book. 'Cause
I think he is in real life
you're
too.
hearing his thoughts, I guess, or however the narrative
from his
works.
perspective.
Yeah.
I like that he's like, I don't need the car. Let me have your keys to your car.
Yeah.
Takes Murray's car out there.
Yeah. He
Incognito.
Yeah.
steals a neighbor's car in the book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's even worse. Commit a crime to go commit a crime.
Wait till you hear what happens after they go to the atheist hospital.
What happens there?
Is there anything
We're
else
getting there.
you want to...
So did anyone wonder what it said on the door as he was walking up to the hotel?
What hotel? Oh, 1408?
But it's like
111?
Mubish Doku.
Sudoku?
You just think like, okay, this must be something German that it says on this sign.
Right.
And I looked it up, and it's marked some high quality gibberish. Means absolutely nothing.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
And there was like so many things, like a lot of people have been writing about this white noise, that they just have this sign that looks like it would be in German.
Well, it just means nothing.
Means nothing.
Jeez.
That's a very coded Easter egg right there.
Yeah, that's weird. Like, zeitgeist is one of those words that I remember teachers, when they explain zeitgeist, always had a really confusing time explaining it.
Yeah.
There was some beautiful lighting as he's walking outside of the hotel. Technically.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked that when he's walking, and it's like the classic American hotel where you're walking outside, or motel or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he's like walking up like this, but to walk past a when he walks past a window to a room, he's acting as if he's like not here to do anything sketchy, and then as soon as he passes the window, I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, very fun.
And then as he pulls up to the window of room 8, he has that visual of Mr. Grey.
Not room 9?
That would have been good. But it's the exact same way that he saw Mr. Grey in like the dream sequence.
Yeah.
From the same over the right shoulder where you can see the scar.
Right.
It helps us recognize them as well.
Mm.
In a way, that's kind of the stupidest thing of the whole thing. This dream sequence, whatever, with him. Like, it's not grounded in anything that I can think of. And, like, before we get through everything...
That's why I was he must have actually been there or something.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense. But then there's which we didn't talk about, the guy with the TV. He's like, I've seen you before. Yeah. And you were standing there. And you had that same smug look on your face. And then he can see his reflection in the TV. He's like, I guess I do have a smug look on my face.
Yeah.
And there's something about deja vu.
Yeah, deja vu is a symptom of the toxic cloud.
But he says it twice.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's what they're getting at with this dream.
Yeah. It mentions it really early on in the book as well. Like one of the first pages.
Yeah.
And then not referring to it like that way, but sets it up a little bit.
But it is a little unexplained, that part of it, with the dream sequence.
And I might have breezed through it too. Like there was some parts that like I was reading because like we were gonna do this a few weeks ago, so some of it's not as fresh now. But I'm not sure.
Would have been funny if Babette showed up with a ski mask on.
Ready to go.
Yeah.
That would have been more like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Because it didn't seem like, what do you think? Did she know that insane, jealous, ragey man was going to show up there, or was she there to do the deed?
It didn't seem like she was there to score, but it is possible. Yeah, I think that she kind of just figured he'd been gone for a bit. She got suspicious and
Maybe she saw the ripped open garbage bag with the remnants of what he...
signs of a struggle.
Yeah. Where it didn't happen in the book, I can't say. Because, like, basically the same thing happens. He gets there, and they go back and forth. What's his name says something. I don't know. Does he say it in the movie? He says something with a number. 32? Does this sound at all familiar to you?
No, not very cool.
What's he say? 32 is... Fuck. Fuck me.
Yeah, I do remember when the guy can't remember how he got shot.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to drag him out to the car, and he wakes up and he's all confused. He's like, you shot yourself and us.
Yeah.
And he goes, what point was I trying to make?
Yeah. That was awesome.
Like, I don't know, you were just going crazy, man.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, I guess so.
And, you know, the car crashes and all those sequences that you see in, like, action movies, stuff like that. He got his big action movie dialogue. My name's Jack, and I'm here to kill you. I'm a former dyer and a now killer.
Yeah, or tentative, going to die.
Kind of like that. I'm a former dyer.
First. You said because they did mention something about getting spiritual energy from somebody else and then being able to maybe attain immortality. But in the book,
violence is part of the rebirth.
Yeah, you get to I think that Don Cheadle says exactly that. When you kill somebody, you extend your own life. And they focus on how you wanted to extract that guy's soul in the book, apparently. I should check it out.
The Tibetans.
But the main thing I'm wondering...
Yeah, it's not a hard read.
Don't you think you should have just flushed that little gun down the toilet? Seemed like the easiest way to get rid of it.
It's true. Or pass it on. Pay it forward.
Put it in the guy's hand.
The biggest question I have about the difference between the book and the film is if the book ends in that same kind of it's a satirical celebration of consumerism with everyone dancing in the grocery store, and that's the reason. It's kind of like, it's very cheeky because they've gone through this growth, and you would hope that they would be both disillusioned with consumerism, but then also more they've come to terms with the fact they will die someday and they have to live the life that they have. But then there's this curated, synchronized dance in the grocery store that just goes to show it's like a celebration of commonplace habits and just getting back into the groove, and that Don Cheadle's character saying it's a place of restoration and the best place in society where everyone gets to meet, but it's a place of transactions and products.
Sorry to take my head out of the game there.
Why, what do you got going on?
I just wanted to see what the fuck he said.
The sweet song at the end, I gotta say that's the tune that I recall.
Music
the most.
number, LCD sound system. Yeah, it's a fucking wicked tune.
And did you guys notice that Chris Elliott is in the ending dance?
Oh, really?
Standing, looking so creepy.
Always does.
Yeah, he always does, and he was playing it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of CB4 fame.
Yeah. And the book ends in a supermarket as well with this, but it's more like summarizing the creature comforts of the store, like saying that it's everything you need, something to that effect. But there's another major thing that does happen at the end of the book.
Are you never wearing your headphones?
I have
They're
these.
in there.
Okay.
They're in there.
One thing we overlooked, I thought that was super funny, so he shoots him, and when they're dragging him out, he oh no, he's choking. and they get down, and they put him on his side.
Yeah.
It's like, he just shot him, now you're trying to save him from choking.
Mm-hmm. And as I just read in the book, I just want to clarify that line and how meaningless and what a fruitless point it was to look for it. But it was, just the thing about the out of 32 teeth, why are 4 so problematic or whatever.
It was in there.
Yeah, it was in there. But does he try to give him mouth-to-mouth in the movie?
He does.
Yeah, okay.
Solid. And that, I think, is like the
He
transition.
doesn't try.
Does.
He does it.
Yeah.
He does it. He saves his life. Where he had just tried to kill him before. So it is this really kind of chaotic, contradictory chain of events. But I think that's because it's this transition point for him, where he's thinking carelessly about life to the point that he would kill somebody else, to then valuing life, that he would try to save that guy.
Born again dyer.
And I'm thinking they could have gone a more interesting direction than him just kind of, falling back in love with Babette, feeling together with her, and then they do the synchronized dance in the grocery store. Like, it would have been interesting to see if he changed his career. And I'm wondering if they got into any of that in the book. If he develops his relationship with his children, or decides to focus on something other than the creator of the Holocaust. Right?
Well, gets the chance to focus on one child. Is there? I'm not going to say it until we're ready to wrap it up.
So with the the dialogue with the nuns, again, very on the nose with, someone has to pretend or trick. So, religion, more or less is, a belief system, something that people can hold on to, perhaps false comfort.
Yes.
You know what I mean? At least it has a reason.
Bon point.
Sense of purpose.
But even, the people that might not necessarily believe it themselves still have to push that trickery onto others, because that will just mean that everyone loses faith.
Witchcraft.
And, it seems like they internalize it. They bring it into their relationship, because they're like, someone's got to believe in you. Or if you don't believe it, no one else will. Is what the line is. And does that kind of correlate into the family dynamic, or they're pretty much saying that they're got to be there for the kids, because it goes back to classic wholesome family times in the living room around the TV, which is how it all started before they got into this.
Yeah, there's a bit of a clean rap.
Yeah, but there is
too clean.
So we get back to the dialogue of how he just doesn't seem to be on the same wavelength, or the same the level of her thought process, because she's going, there's two, I'm so upset because there's two things that I always wanted, and it's to die before you. Fuck, what's the other thing? Do you remember this part? Or is she saying that? Because he's like, there's two things, something to do with the kids, and then he's like, I always wanted you to wear leg warmers during sex. But I thought you'd find that strange. So it's very similar to the line of, we're just fragile creatures surrounded by hostile facts. And he's like, we're out of milk.
Yeah, taking the simple route. Even in his enlightened state, in the wrap up of the film, I thought he had kind of become comfortable with the fact he's going to die in 30 years. He still has that knowledge, and he's just focusing in the moment with his wife. But then earlier in the film, he is really dismissive and kind of favors a simplistic kind of interpretation of life, and that's again that kind of hard-headed patriarchal kind of role that he carries on until he's woken up. So I think that maybe a career shift, or him making some sort of other kind of statement, or demonstrating in some other way that he actually values his life in a whole new way, that would have maybe completed the film for me. But I don't know if it was supposed to be a clean wrap. It's a masterpiece. I stand by it. I think that's a great film, and it didn't play it out, too much. Just cut it, which makes it seem both like something that stands out, but then something that could just fit into everyday life. You could maybe miss it if you saw it in everyday life.
I took it as one of the greatest promotions for a rap album ever. Because Andre 3000 just came out with a new album. That shit's fire.
Yeah, a few weeks ago.
That was the last shot.
Was it inspired by
that
noise?
Him holding the box.
Dope. Don't miss Chris Elliott. Go back and watch that dance scene and see if you can spot
Is
him.
it like small hand Chris Elliott?
You can't see his hands.
No?
You can just see his creepy face.
I think the most clean-cut Chris Elliott I've ever seen was in CB4. He was doing the documentary on... what are they even called there? What's the...
For me, it was Cabin
CB4?
Boy.
Are they called CB4? Maybe?
Cabin Boy 4?
Is he... What's he in?
Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, Schitt's Creek.
But I thought you were saying Cabin Boy.
Yeah, is that wrong?
Is that a movie?
Yeah. Man Overboard.
You
No,
call
that's
that a movie?
Yeah, it's barely a movie. It's from my youth, I remember.
What else is he in?
Or Captain Ron.
Oh. That's up there, baby.
Captain Ron.
Chris Elliott's not...
I have
that,
to
is
double check on Cabin Boy. It sounds too close to be Captain Ron.
Did anyone notice who another one of the school teachers were? The guy with the ponytail?
What about him?
It's Ramon.
Oh.
Come on. I fought for that in trivia and got it right.
Yeah. Fucking A.
Yeah. Fucking pool boy turned teacher.
That's true. I didn't even clue into that.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
I didn't know so either.
Talk about changing jobs.
Well, Well,
Go for it.
no. Are we sure we're there?
We're there, baby.
Okay, I kind of want you to... There's one more Seinfeld reference
Should
left
we all
in
take
this
these off for the end?
tank.
Let's
It's
take
a little too earnest a moment. Okay.
Wes! When did you get here?
Yeah, it's been pretty shady up until now.
Okay.
Woo!
Uh,
Someone turned up the ISO.
nice. So we there? Yeah, any more notes? Nothing? You sure?
Mine ended with Andre 3K.
Okay, so there's one other left ball thing that happens in the book. It's a Seinfeld reference in a way.
Not the one that produces sperm, by the way.
No. But if you were to speculate something else that might have happened in this, what do you think it would be? We haven't talked about this character a great deal.
Oh no. Don't tell me Heinrich turns into a school shooter.
Not a bad guess. There's actually...
Not a Seinfeld reference in that, though. So.
Yeah.
Did you see the Seinfeld reunion in Curb?
No.
It's all about school shooters.
Damn. No, I'm not sure.
So, Wilder, you remember him?
Yeah.
The kid? He's like being coddled. He's like the one innocent in this whole thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you see him like he's always in like someone's lap or like being protected, whatever. So, at the end of the book, after the atheist German nunnery, there's this whole...
Before the dance scene, right?
Yes, before the dance scene. Where Wilder, he is out on like his little bike or a trike or something like that. And these like...
Shining reference.
There's this like bank of older ladies watching him go. And he like goes around some like weird like Shining-esque route. And he ends up at the like interstate. And he drives across traffic on his bike and ends up like making it through.
He makes it through.
He plays Frogger?
He plays Frogger. And he doesn't lose his high score,
No.
luckily.
Jesus.
But he ends up like goes over an embankment at the end and like into a creek, which is like the closest thing to that in the water scene. And like some guy gets out of his car and like holds him up like he's on Pride Rock basically, and shows the ladies he's okay because they're like yelling at him the whole time, don't go down there. So like,
So he ends up being okay?
yeah,
Okay, wow.
But like he gets cursed out, and all the good stuff is he's going slowly across the road. And the way it's described, it's like, like obviously, like he's going in slow motion compared to traffic and stuff. So it's really looking into that.
Do you think that when DeLillo started writing that scene, he knew whether or not the kid was going to survive? Because he could either have demonstrated life is short,
Yeah.
it can be taken away at any point, or it's fragile and you can still get by, which is, I guess, the where he landed.
Yeah.
And maybe where his editor nudged him.
Yeah.
Rather than not having
Probably
a
wrote a
darker
couple-
story.
And like these people are so concerned about themselves the whole way. They don't think about like the youth that much.
Yeah, they think about their own.
But I don't think it would have done the movie. Like, the piece as a whole, and, like, the satire, like, it doesn't really make sense to kill off the kid. Like, it makes sense for it to be this, like, what would you call it? Like, divine intervention or something like that, where
An
it's...
amusement, a close call.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's just one of those things where like if you're focusing on one thing, you don't see what's happening over here.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought it was pretty interesting.
So is that, like, last page? What's last page of the book?
Supermarket.
Yeah.
I'm
I
pretty
totally
sure
agree.
it's supermarket.
I was interested in how the book ended, because that's just such a, an important part of the
Oh,
whole
it
story.
says aimless on the last page.
Aimless. Are they dancing?
No.
And they mentioned waves and radiation, which is that the name of the first chapter?
It is, yeah. Yeah. This is the language of waves and radiation and how the dead speak to the living.
Was there a chapter called Dial-A-Rama?
I think
They did do that every once in a while in the movie.
I don't know if
Create a new chapter.
I don't know if it's broken in, yeah, I know that it was in the movie. I'm not sure if it was. It's definitely the airborne toxic event gets its own page. Yeah.
What's that last line?
The very last?
Yeah.
The cults of the famous and the dead.
Oh, we didn't even talk about a cult.
Yeah.
Not a single one.
Here's the tie into the 2005
She's a big
White
Aleister
Noise.
Crowley.
Everything we need that is not food or love is here in the tabloid racks. The tales of the supernatural and the extraterrestrial.
Oh, if we ever need a
Miraculous
narrator,
vitamins, the cures for cancer.
We'll go
the
down
remedies
Seattle.
for obesity. Awesome.
the end.
Finn.
No, we didn't get in.